it's easy to say to someone, if you have an opinion, be your authentic self, say that opinion in that leadership meeting.
Yeah.
But then there's that risk associated as well, where, if you have an opinion and it could throw someone off or rub someone off the wrong way, there's that risk associated where if you do that to someone who's in leadership, you could potentially get demoted, lose your job. And so when there is that risk and you're not in an environment that's facilitating the ability for you to be, how much of yourself should you bring to work? Do you embrace your authenticity and personality?
Welcome to the Marketing Mentors Podcast, a podcast brought to you by Red Pandas Digital. I am joined by the, as always, lovely Linda, who I've missed very much over the last couple of weeks whilst she was off gallivanting and enjoying Europe. And I am Tasha, for those of you that haven't picked up on that yet. And today, if you also didn't pick up on what Linda said, we're talking about being your authentic self in the workplace and what that even means.
Yeah, so I guess just to start from basics, what we mean by that is, are you bringing out your personality in the workplace? Are there two different versions of you that might exist? Are you showing that quirky side to you? Are you showing that moody side to you? Mm-hmm. Are you your authentic self when you're around your colleagues?
Yeah, it's a really good one because I feel like I am for the most part, I am. But then there's definitely parts of me that my colleagues do not need to see.
Okay, so first, I need to ask you, have you, up until this point, have you always, do you think, been this way?
My authentic self.
Yeah, do you think that there's been an evolution in the way that you carry yourself?
Such a good question, Linda. I feel like when I reflect back on, I've been working for, not 15 years in this space, but as soon as I could get a job, I did. So what
was your first job?
Oh man, my first actual paying job, or just cash in the hand type of stuff. Oh, I did babysitting. Everyone does babysitting. You know what I mean? When you're in high school, and then I think halfway through high school, I started at Coles and I was a checkout chick.
Oh, okay,
right. Yep. So in a way, yes, but also I was really young. I was 14, so I didn't really know who I was, and so not bringing your authentic self to work at 14. You're just some tween ganger, so you don't really know who I am, right? You're learning who you are. So no, I can't say I always did, but definitely growing up and learning a little bit more about who I am and who I want to be, and having the right mentor and guidance, and being blessed. I feel like I've definitely been blessed with the workplaces that I've worked at. Mm-hmm. I have been able to be pretty close to who my authentic self.
Yeah.
But I've definitely blurred some lines. People listening, if you can't pick it up, I'm a pretty open book, and I'm pretty out there and loud and borderline maybe obnoxious,
crazy,
quirky, whatever you want to call it. And there has been times where when I was younger, I definitely felt like I had to peel that back, and I was I can't be my crazy self at work.
Why?
Because it's not professional. Mm-hmm. And it's no one's going to want some crazy girl running a department or, being second in charge of a company. But as I've gotten older and realized, no, lean into some of my crazies, because that's what makes me who I am.
So when you say you had to hold back some elements, so these were personality related, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't joke as much, or I'd be a little bit more serious. But again, I reckon that could be a lot because of my age. Mm-hmm. I was still really young. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I'm still young now, but I was really young in my career. I didn't have the experience that I have now. I hadn't made as many mistakes as I have now. I didn't cross the lines that I did back then that I have now. So I know not to cross those lines again. It's all experience to know this is how much I'm happy to share myself at work, because it makes me authentic, vulnerable, personable, connectable, and I form stronger relationships at work with my colleagues, with my clients, and just achieve better results, right? Outcomes.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't always been like that. If you want to and I don't think in 10 years' time I'm not going to be what I am now.
It's just a continuous evolution.
Exactly.
Yeah, through your experience. Yeah, I agree. To be honest, T,
what about you?
Same for me. I think back to the very first, my first job was a tennis coach, which doesn't really count, but let's say my first job when I was in retail, and, I was just working casually. So I'd say I was pretty authentic for what I could have been at that particular age. I was under 20 years old. And I think looking back at it, I probably was authentically myself as much as you can be at that age, because the stakes weren't really that high.
Yeah.
I think when I was less authentic was actually when I was in corporate, and I started kind of getting I was working my way up, and I was getting these bigger titles, if you will. And I definitely feel like in that moment when I was working at those jobs, I had to I thought at the time I had to be less authentic because I needed to live up to the title. And I was working around people that were a lot older than me. You know, I was in my early 20s still, so, you know, quite fresh into my career. And I wasn't my authentic self. I almost felt like to be taken seriously, I had to not be. But then you look back, and my ability to be able to form genuine connections within the workplace wasn't there because I wasn't being myself enough.
How can you? And that's a takeaway for not just professional life, but your personal life. How can you possibly even think about forming actual meaningful relationships with people if you aren't authentic to yourself?
Yeah.
It just doesn't, to me, it's not logical. It doesn't make sense. There's no connection can be made.
Yeah.
Because at one point, something is going to trigger from the other person or yourself, and it's like, oh, this doesn't work. Why? Well, you're lying. You're lying to yourself. So it's just not going to happen. It's not when you peel back some layers and you become a little bit vulnerable, and you are more exposed to being hurt. And when you get hurt, it hurts a bit harder.
I think as well, though, at that age as well, you definitely have something to prove.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to be taken seriously. And so, you know, me, when I'm like with my friends, my family, like I'm really ditzy. You know what I mean? I'll say stupid comments, not think about it.
Just with your family?
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Well, yeah. You know what I mean? I'll throw away stupid comments, and like I'm not worried. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you know you're working with these colleagues at a younger age and they're a lot older than you want to be taken seriously. So I can understand the thought process of needing to kind of prove yourself when you're that age. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe it's a rite of passageway. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you have to go through that as a younger professional to learn that, you know, be yourself. Don't be yourself for a little bit, to learn that like feeling of you don't like that feeling, and then get to the point of, hey, no, this is who I am, and own who I am. With that said, Moby made a good point before, unless you're an asshole, don't bring yourself to work. If you're not a nice person, just pretend you are when you're at work, please.
Tasha, take yourself home, please.
Thanks, Linda. That's a joke. I'm a really nice person.
Yeah, you're right.
I think
that's an important point. And on that as well, I think you raised a really good point around age. I think age just definitely plays a factor in this, and really how authentic you can be depending on where you are at in your life. You know, if you're younger, then you're still trying to figure yourself out. So it can be hard to put yourself in the mind frame of being your authentic self when you don't know who that is.
100%, Linda. If we were having this conversation in 10 years, this conversation would look very differently. And we would have feedback for ourselves as late 20-year-olds. I'm not disclosing our age. Late 20-year-olds as to how to be more of yourself, or maybe where we should peel back if we do. I don't know. I'm still learning. I'm still figuring things out. All I know right now is I come to work pretty much every day with my heart on my sleeve. It's very rare that I'm not my authentic self. Obviously, like, I'm not going to bring my level 10 aggression here when I get super, super angry on things. Most people who've seen me get angry, yes, I get angry, but like, you know, there's certain things in your life. You're always going to have, you know, interactions with your family and your loved ones that obviously you're not going to bring into work because that's personal. But at work, being yourself, being like warts and all, quirkiness and all, likes, interests, quiet, loud, not quiet, whatever it is. Share that, because that's how you're going to form better relationships at work. Mm-hmm. With that said, that's not as easy. It's very easy said, actually.
Yeah, I guess it really depends on like the environment that you're in, because I can understand it's easier said than done for a lot of people.
Yep.
You know, it's easy to say to someone, you know, if you have an opinion, be your authentic self, say that opinion in that leadership meeting.
Yeah.
But then there's that risk associated as well, where, you know, if you have an opinion and it could throw someone off or rub someone off the wrong way, there's that risk associated where if you do that to someone who's in leadership, you could potentially get demoted, lose your job. And so when there is that risk and you're not in an environment that's facilitating the ability for you to be your authentic self, then naturally it makes sense for you to just want to be more guarded.
And recluse. Yeah.
Yeah, and recluse.
I hear that. And like to that I would say, well, it sounds like if you don't have the opportunity to be yourself somewhere, you don't have psychological safety. Yeah. You know, that beautiful word that we bring up a lot in this podcast, a lot at work as well, like in our workplace here at Red Pandas. Psychological safety is having that ability to say what you need to say when you need to say it, and not fear of judgment or hatred or objections or anything like that. It is that safety to be yourself at work, warts and all, or have that safety to say to someone, hey, I'm really busy right now. I can't deal with all the waffle in the office, and just leave me alone, or whatever it might be.
I feel like the point here is that it's not just up to you to be authentic. It's really also up to your workplace to facilitate that environment.
Your leadership.
Yeah, leadership needs to be setting an example.
Yeah, 100%.
So what's that balance then, T, between being your authentic self or the person that you are at home versus the person that you are at work? You know what I mean? Because we're saying be your authentic self, but there's obviously some level of filter.
I don't know if I'd say there's a balance. I think you'll feel it. Like it's probably me saying to someone, reflect in yourself and try and tune into, the culture at your workplace and what is being embraced or what is being allowed in a way, because I don't know what it's like to work somewhere that's not psych safe. I've been here so long, I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. Yeah. And I'm fearful that if and when I move on to another role and I'm not somewhere where it's psych safe, I might lose my job for saying something that I shouldn't say because psych safety isn't embraced. True psych safety, because a lot of organizations might walk around saying, we're psych safe.
These buzzwords,
but they have
culture.
They have no idea what it means. Yeah. There's a great report on McKinsey Insights that I have found that I'll share in our show notes and link to about, few leaders display those actual behaviors of psychological safety. And then it goes into the percentages of that. And it's like only 20% of team leaders are frequently demonstrating psych safety.
20%?
Yeah. Some of this data that's coming out is like, it's minimal. So it's understandable that it's hard. And so bringing your authentic self to work might be really challenging for some. Yeah. And I think it's starting with small things. Yeah. And not one person can change the culture of some place. It's not what we're trying to tell you to do. But just have that knowledge in the back of your mind that if you're not being your authentic self, you're not forming the best relationships. Yeah. And you're probably not growing the best either.
Well, the thing with that as well is, we behave differently in different groups that we're in. Right? So we mirror our different groups that we have. So with one friendship group, I might behave slightly differently or just, have different sort of banter than another friendship group. Yeah. And then as opposed to my family and then maybe extended family, it's not that I'm not being authentic. I aim to be authentic across all of them, but you can have different relationships and behave in different ways, but still be true to who you are. Yeah. And that's probably the takeaway if you are in a workplace that doesn't facilitate being your authentic self. There is that level of adaptation that you can have so that, you don't have that risk of getting demoted and being fired. Exactly. But you can still be yourself.
Yeah. And a good example of what Linda's talking about, and, maybe mentioned it before, if you are a dad, for example, you can be your authentic dad self when you're at home with your kids. And then obviously you come to work and you're stepping into your CEO role, and you can still use elements of your authentic self you need to be to lead your team, but you're not going to treat your team just like you would your 10-year-old son. There's going to be different ways that you adapt your personality and adapt the way you behave so that you're still authentic and you're still nurturing and embracing psych safety, but you're being authentic as well. On that note as well, I wanted to mention something on, where's my notes? Yeah, I think it's really similar to what Linda was saying. There's parts of ourselves that we feel uncomfortable about sharing at work. And to that point, you don't have to share everything. We're not saying be authentic, share everything. Yeah. And you don't have to get on with everyone. That's the other thing.
That's it. Not everyone has to like you.
Yeah. You don't have to get on with everyone. Being authentic doesn't don't be an asshole. Don't tell someone to bugger off just because you don't like them. But you don't have to make deep and meaningful connections with everyone, especially the bigger the organization gets. You're not going to be best friends for life with everyone.
Yeah.
That's okay. I don't have an answer for you. That's okay. Like, it's just literally like, you know, growing up, your mum would say, you don't have to be friends with everyone. You don't have to. It's not going to happen. But just be mindful of that. So that's cool. Do you want to add anything else onto that, Linda? I really liked that topic.
Yeah, I like that last point that you made around not everyone has to like you. And it's funny because being authentic, you have to be able to accept yourself for who you are to be able to be that, and then be able to facilitate better relationships, grow your career, find success. So it's funny because it just really stems at like what point you are within yourself.
Yep.
And that in itself kind of helps you along your journey.
Yeah, so next episode we'll just talk about self-love. And how you can learn to love yourself more.
Yeah.
And then be authentic yourself.
You can just run that one.
Oh, no, it's all right. It's so wishy-washy. I don't have any tips on that one, honestly. Oh, I'm sure I do, but we're not talking about that today. Look at yourself in the mirror every day and you tell yourself, I can do this. So I love you.
Tia, I have a question. I'm going back on topic.
Make that a snippet.
So, like, I had this random thought. I used to work at this place many years ago, and there was this person that I worked with, and we were actually really good friends. We got along really well. But I remember she used to bring a lot of herself to work. And by that, I mean, like, her mood would affect everybody in the workplace. Yeah. Like, if she had a fight with her mum, whatever it was, like, we'd know about it.
I know
we'd
this
hear
girl.
about it.
Yeah, I know this
like,
person. Sorry, I know this person.
Yeah, and it was I got really frustrated, I remember, at that point in time, because I was like, I just want to work and I'm trying to deal with my own emotions, my own day, and what you're bringing to work is affecting how I feel now. Yeah. But then, you know, like...
Yeah, like, look, that's like you were saying before, it's a deep self, like, analyzing, reflection, critical analysis, if you will, on yourself. Yeah. Where be authentic, but don't bring your baggage to work. All of us have got shit going on outside of work. All of us. We don't sit here and whinge and whine all day about all of our problems and, you know, bills and breakups and, you know, that type of stuff. Like, that's part of life. So for that person, I'd kind of be, obviously, you know, we've all got to be politically correct and, you know, respectful of everyone's life, but it's like, we're in work, let's focus on building positive work relationships and things that are stresses outside of work. You know, here's some things to handle, to help you handle that. But let's be real, bringing that stuff into conversations at work can sometimes be quite like a bit of a downer, and it's hard to keep, and that's part of the psych safety culture. You have a psych safety culture, you can have those conversations with someone. You know, Linda, I love that you bring all of yourself to work, but sometimes it affects other people. Yeah. And look, that might hurt someone, but in a psych-safe environment, you would hope that they could turn around and appreciate that they're getting the feedback that they're getting.
Yeah. And I think it also comes into your own emotional intelligence as well. Yeah. You know, being able to be cognizant of how you're affecting people, whether you're sharing too much in regards to, like, your own personal struggles.
Yeah, which, like, Linda, how many times does EQ or emotional intelligence come up and you're just like, oh, I don't know how to teach this person.
Yeah,
I don't know.
This is a hard lesson.
Yeah, again, experience, time, age, mistakes. Yeah. Like, every time you fall down and you get back up again, you learn so much. Yeah. Like, nothing accounts for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, let's talk about this in 10 years' time and see how different our opinion will be on this.
Yeah. It's almost like, you know, this is so random, but you know how people, they write, I haven't done this before, but you write yourself a letter and then you look back.
This is that podcast.
Or you look in,
the future Tasha and Linda.
Yeah, this is our actual, like, note to look back on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Linda, honestly, it's been absolutely amazing having you back.
I know, it's good to be back.
I missed you so much.
I missed you too.
Very keen for some of our upcoming topics. But as always, feedback, comments, suggestions, hit us up, redpandasdigital.com. It's been an absolute pleasure, Linda. Until next time.
Bye, guys.